my 29 meters, girlfriend, 24F, cancelled weekend plans to attend a house party, invited a male friend. Am I being unreasonable in ending it? Last weekend I had arranged the week in advance for her to join me kayaking in Sydney Harbour as it's something she's wanted to do. She asked to reschedule at the last minute to attend a house party with the work friends without inviting me. I agreed as a free day would help me focus going to the gym and personal errands etc. The following day we saw one another and she revealed she invited a male friend who is not a work friend but someone who is new to town and has no friends. Previous to this he had invited her to brunch, which I expressed as not something I would do, with the opposite, particularly given she had to make it clear during it that she was dating someone. She had re-pieced her nose, and was acting distant the last few weeks. She stated he had a drink at her place and attended a house party together. My gut feeling suggested her inviting him instead of myself did not reveal much consideration for me and sat her down and said I would have to rethink seeing her. She said she wanted to attend by herself, and that he asked to see her and she figured two birds one stone. She informed me without me having to ask, which was good communication, but was surprised I would see this as a disappointing action. She cried and I conceded I should give another chance, perhaps I was overthinking it. She has many male friends, some are long friends but some are men who, to be frank, probably are romantically interested, and she likes the attention, as she's had a recent coffee date that he felt was a date. I spoke to her about this, and it appears she is unable to set clear boundaries besides communicating she is dating someone, as she has gone on one-on-one dates. I said, this is a boundary I am not comfortable with as it's not something I would do to my partner and perhaps we are not compatible. Am I being too old-fashioned in this regard? Additionally, given the age difference, there is differences in maturity and value systems. At her age I was old enough to understand this behavior is naive at best or deceitful at worst, as some of these friends have expressed romantic interest. Note she pursued me after a breakup and I was also just a male friend. I said to her I also have options with friendly members of the opposite sex, but I set clear boundaries with female friends. I know my value, and feel that her actions reflect that she doesn't. Am I being unreasonable? I'd like some insights from objective third parties to see if I am simply holding her to a too high standard. Been there, done that. Run, dude. You seem level-headed and understand this is wrong. Don't ignore your gut feeling here. Thanks, I'll end it tonight. I will communicate I deserve respect and she evidently can't provide that and move on. Personally, my last ex used to do things like this. She was unable to set clear boundaries and often did things that I considered inappropriate for a relationship. In the end it boiled down to the fact that it gradually erodes your trust in them. You feel like you're not particularly important and are taken for granted, and if this is the case, what kind of relationship is worth that stress? She ended up cheating multiple times, very long story, but essentially the signs were there that she just wasn't able to understand how to properly be in a relationship. I left it too long, but my advice to you in this situation is get out and don't look back. There will be someone who instinctively understands these things without you having to be a teacher and babysitter to what's effectively an emotionally immature person. Update: my 29 meters, girlfriend, 24F, cancelled weekend plans to attend a house party, invited a male friend. Am I being unreasonable in ending it? We spoke via text and then I called her at lunch. It escalated where I was repeating my discontent with her accepting ostensibly platonic dates from random men and her stating men and women can simply be friends and that I should trust her. I stated they can be friends, but I expressed the nature of her relationships with men is not something I'm comfortable with, and I tried to reject, not encourage women who ask me out for friendly coffee dates because I know better. I expressed her declining a date with me so she and a random man can drink at her place and attend a house party is a deal breaker. She doesn't, and that is fine. We're all entitled to our own expectations. I don't think she cheated. I know she appreciates male attention, perhaps more than she appreciates being in a committed healthy relationship where communicated boundaries are observed. Accordingly, most of her friends are male, some of which still have romantic interests in her. Some men are okay with that, I'm evidently not. She's a wonderful woman, she's just not the woman for me. She wants to act like she's single, well now she is.
Me, F29, with my BF, M31, of 3.5 years won't help me clean or do things he doesn't care about. This is a throwaway account. I recently moved to a new state with my BF because I started PhD school. He moved with me, back to the area he's from, actually, and we've been living together since July. It's been rough. When we first moved into our apartment, I did almost all of the unpacking since he was working full-time and I hadn't started school yet. There are still a few boxes laying around containing some of his odds and ends. I didn't unpack those because I wasn't sure where he wanted them. He has still not dealt with them, and they're currently stacked under his computer desk. I unpacked and set up all his other stuff, including his clothing, desk, etc. In October, my parents wanted to come and visit over my fall break. BF was not very happy that they wanted to stay in our guest room, computer room, but he acquiesced after I asked multiple times. I really needed a yes or a no if they could stay with us so they could book a hotel if they needed to. In preparation for their visit, I did a lot of cleaning. The apartment hadn't really been cleaned since we moved in and I did a first round deep cleaning. It was kind of gross when we moved in. BF did not help at all. Granted, I have a more flexible schedule, but for part of the time, he sat in the living room playing video games while I cleaned. This is actually how those boxes of his ended up under his desk. I needed a place to tuck away his clutter. 2 or 3 weeks later, our bathroom was getting pretty gross, growing mold in the shower, etc. I asked him if he would help me clean it over the weekend, and he told me, "No, you can do it. It's not like it takes very long. You do the things you care about, and I'll do the things I care about." This sparked a fight where he said he did other things around the apartment like cooking. That's true, he does cook, but he cooks meat. Meat is not a balanced meal for me, so you know. I still cook veggies for myself. His division of labor, we only do the things we care about, is crappy. He did end up wiping the mold in the shower with a washcloth and leaving it on the side of the bathtub for a week until I finally dealt with it. Sigh. Sometime later I asked if he could start wiping his pee off the toilet seat when it dripped. He sulked for a day and didn't really talk to me, and then in a sort of joking but it isn't funny way kept saying, "You don't love me enough to wipe my pee." I tried to bring up the "we only do things we care about" issue a few weeks after all of this. I told him I was having some doubts. He immediately asked me if I was moving out. I wasn't prepared for that escalation. So I tried to back up and explain that by his logic, what if we have a house next year, he wants to buy one, and he doesn't care about yard maintenance? Would that mean that I'm responsible for both all of the cleaning and all of the yard maintenance? I wouldn't have time to do all of that because of PhD school. His solution was that we should just keep renting the apartment. Then I asked what if we have kids, and he doesn't care about changing poopy diapers? When I brought up kids, he told me, I'm not the one who bails on my responsibilities. He was referencing a fight we had last year. For the sake of brevity, I won't get into it here, but I posted under a different throwaway about it. If you search me, 28F, with boyfriend, 30 meters, and 2 kittens, 3 months, you'll find it. So that shut the whole thing down, and our division of labor is still we only do things we care about. It's not working for me, and he was not receptive to the feedback I tried to give him about my doubts. It's also not really about the cleaning per se. I know we could hire a housekeeper, but I don't think that would fix the root of my issue. I can't quite pinpoint what my issue is, but there's something here that's causing me to question the relationship. I found a new therapist in my area, and I'm planning to work on this with her. I'd like for him to come as well, but I don't think he would be willing. I'm wondering what others think about this situation. If anyone has been in a similar situation, what did you do? Is there some example language I could incorporate next time I bring this up? I'm also a little scared to bring it up without having a solid contingency plan in case it goes straight to moving out again. I mean, at this point, if I moved out, at least me and the cats could live in a clean environment and I wouldn't feel like his maid. As a final note, I by no means need my home to be an A+ on the cleaning scale. I can handle some mess, but this has been downright gross. TLDR, BF refuses to clean or do things he doesn't care about. It isn't working for me. I don't know how to bring it up with him, or if this is fixable. Update, me, F29, with my BF, M31, of 3.5 years won't help me clean or do things he doesn't care about. I ended things a little over a month ago, and things have simultaneously been terrible and amazing. I asked him if he would be willing to go to therapy with me, and he refused. He told me when we first started dating that he would never go to therapy, and I assumed he'd change his mind at some point because he would care enough about me and our relationship to work through the hard things in counseling. We see this all the time on this sub, but really, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Refusing to go to therapy really left me with the two choices of staying and having nothing change and being unhappy. Or leaving. I opted to leave even though it was scary and so hard. The initial heartbreak is starting to fade, and I'm working on rediscovering myself. I know that I did the right thing for myself, but it was also the hard thing. I kept this throwaway account around, and I'm posting this update because I wanted to thank this community and the individuals who offered their input. I know I didn't comment on anything in my original post, but it was very helpful to have some outside opinions. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for your advice and assistance when I was faced with a difficult situation. TLDR, I ended things because he refused to go to therapy with me to work on our issues.